These bubble zones were a certain distance into which you could not express any opposition to abortion. You could not take pictures inside of those bubble zones. You can't pass out leaflets inside of those bubble zones. You can't even hold a sign inside of those bubble zones. And the punishment for going into a bubble zone went from the very first injunction that was brought against the bubble zone. We broke it, or against the abortion clinics. We broke them, and we were sent to jail. Several people spent months and months in jail because they would not promise not to go back. Others, branded ringleaders like ourselves, we were sentenced, the first people sentenced actually in BC, to 21 days in Ocala prison. And it was to be served on weekends. The courts simply could not see that, could not understand, could not comprehend how we would object to something that was deemed legal, that we would actually put our lives and our freedoms at risk and stand in the gap. To this day, there is still Mary Wagner, who spends many, many years, who spent probably 6-8 years in jail offering flowers to women to convince them not to kill their unborn children. She breaks the bubble zone that we talked about. Linda Gibbons in exactly the same light. A post-abortive woman herself who knows what damage and harm abortion causes, goes into the bubble zone, is arrested and spends years in jail just because of that. That's what a bubble zone is. It just restricts your freedom to express opposition. I served time in jail with Father Vincent Huxwell. He was a Catholic priest in Vancouver here, and he would be in his clerical garb, of course, walking into jail on a Friday afternoon, and they would keep us in jail until Sunday afternoon and evening. One day we're having breakfast, and Father Huxwell takes his prayer book, and he's shaking it over top of the scrambled eggs that they provided for us. I'm going, what are you doing? Well, he says, it's the salt of the earth. It's the, spreading the word. I said, from your prayer book? He goes, actually, John, we're not allowed to bring salt and pepper in here. So I put salt between the pages of the book and I'm sprinkling the word on top of my eggs, he said. We're going, oh my goodness. After that, we all brought our prayer books to weekends in jail. But we were not treated any differently than any other prisoners in jail. There was one day the guards they called all of the 200 prisoners that were there for every other drinking, driving, all those other failure to pay support payments. They were all put down to the lower level, and they were going to go through all of the cells that looking for contraband, not salt, okay, but they were going to be looking for marijuana and for drugs that people would sneak into prison. And after we were all downstairs, they're going through the cells. They start taking us 10 at a time, and they subject us to strip searches. Except Father Huxwell is in his clerical garb. The other prisoners are sort of self-assured, they're sort of assuring Father, oh, don't worry, Padre, they're not going to do you. Don't worry, Padre, when your turn will come, it'll be all right. They're not going to. Oh my gosh, they're doing the priest. And there's this, all of us, 10 at a time, standing stark naked in front of everyone else. I left that experience, went up to our cell, and I said to Father, I said, oh my goodness, I can't believe what a country this Canada has come to. It's just so that they would strip search a Catholic priest looking for marijuana. I just don't. He looked me straight in the eye and he said, John, do you forget why you're here? He said, what we went through down there was nothing compared to what happens to the babies during an abortion. I was crushed. I just